Reports in Spain claim that Barcelona are monitoring three of Tottenham's most important defenders ahead of the summer transfer window. Liverpool have entered the race for Randall Muani as they look to strengthen their forward line ahead of next season, with the Reds said to view the Tottenham loanee as a market opportunity rather than a marquee signing. Jamie Carragher has identified James Maddison as the man Tottenham must lean on if they are to avoid the unthinkable slide into the Championship. And could Spurs challenge the long-standing notion that 40 points guarantees survival? Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here are your daily Tottenham news headlines where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already as yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Like, share and comment below. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And please make sure you turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever we go live or upload a video to the channel. Okay, let's get into it. Sport Witness suggests Barcelona are monitoring three of Tottenham's most important defenders ahead of the summer transfer window, with Pedro Porro, Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero all emerging as potential targets as the Spanish champions weigh up defensive reinforcements. According to reports in Spain, Barcelona sporting director Deco travelled to London for transfer meetings with agents as the Catalan club began laying the groundwork for summer rebuilds. While the identities of every player discussed were not disclosed, the report claims that Tottenham's defensive core is firmly on Barcelona's radar as the club looks to strengthen at the back. The strongest immediate interest appears to concern Pedro Porro, who is viewed as a serious option to solve Barcelona's long-running issue at right-back. With Jules Koundé having often been used out of position there, the Spanish side are said to want a more natural specialist in the role and see Porro as an attractive fit, but because of his age, top-level experience and attacking quality. The report states that Barcelona value the Tottenham fullback at around €40 million, a fee that would represent a significant outlay. Barcelona are also credited with interest in Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero, although any move for either centre-back is described as less advanced. Van der Ven has been admired for several months and was previously linked as a secondary option behind Inter Milan's Alessandro Bastoni, while Romero's reputation and pedigree continue to make him an appealing option for elite European clubs. The backdrop to Barcelona's interest is Tottenham's increasingly precarious Premier League position. Spurs are in the relegation zone with only 4 matches left to save their season, and that uncertainty has alerted clubs across Europe to the possibility of market opportunities in North London. Barcelona are said to believe relegation could weaken Tottenham's hand, particularly in the case of Porro. Even so, any suggestion of a cut price raid is treated with caution. The report notes that Tottenham would be unlikely to sanction cheap exits for 3 of their most valuable defenders, even in the event of relegation, and any attempt by Barcelona to prize them away would almost certainly be complicated by competition from rival clubs and the scale of the fees involved. In short, Barcelona's interest is real and exploratory rather than advanced. Porro appears the most credible immediate target, while Van der Ven and Romero remain admired names on a wider shortlist. For Tottenham, much may depend on what division they're playing in next season and whether Europe's elite sense an opportunity to strike. Liverpool are preparing a surprise summer move for Tottenham forward Randall Muani, with reports claiming the Anfield club are weighing up an ambitious swoop for the France international despite his difficult spell in North London. According to Give Me Sport, Liverpool have entered the race for Muani as they look to strengthen their forward line ahead of next season, with the Reds said to view the Tottenham loanee as a market opportunity rather than a marquee signing. The 27-year-old has endured a frustrating campaign at Spurs, scoring just once in the Premier League and registering only 2 goal involvements across 25 appearances. But Liverpool believe there remains a top-level player beneath the disappointing numbers. Muani joined Spurs on loan from PSG last summer after a previous temporary spell at Juventus, but his time in N17 has failed to ignite. Injuries, inconsistency and Tottenham's broader struggles have all contributed to a disappointing return, leaving serious doubt over whether Spurs will pursue a permanent deal at the end of the season. That uncertainty has alerted Liverpool, who are believed to see Muani as a versatile attacking option capable of operating across the front line. The report claims his profile is admired at Anfield, with his pace, movement and pressing ability viewed as traits that could suit Liverpool's system far better than his current role at Tottenham. Muani was previously regarded as one of Europe's most complete forwards after starring for Eintracht Frankfurt and earning a high-profile move to PSG in 2023. The article adds that Liverpool's interest could be accelerated by uncertainty around their attacking depth, with the club exploring options to support and rotate their front line next season. Muani is no longer viewed as untouchable by PSG, and the French champions are expected to listen to offers after his value dropped significantly following an underwhelming period in Paris and a mixed campaign in England. Juventus are also said to remain in the picture, setting up what could be a 3-way battle for the striker's signature this summer. For Tottenham, the development raises the further questions over whether Muani's future lies away from the club before he has ever truly found his footing in North London. Jamie Carragher has identified James Maddison as the man Tottenham must lean on if they are to avoid an unthinkable slide into the Championship, with the former Liverpool defender insisting the returning playmaker could yet provide the something special needed to rescue Spurs' season. In a bleak assessment of Tottenham's relegation fight, Carragher argued that Maddison's long-awaited return from a serious knee injury may be the club's best hope of survival. Spurs remain in the bottom 3 with only 4 matches left to save themselves, their campaign having been ravaged by injuries and a prolonged collapse in form. Carragher believes that Maddison, despite only recently returning to the matchday squad, is the one player in Tottenham's ranks capable of producing the decisive moments needed to drag them clear of danger. Maddison, 29, has yet to make a competitive appearance this season after suffering an ACL rupture in pre-season, but he has been named among the substitutes in recent weeks as he closes in on a comeback. With Tottenham's squad stretched to breaking point and several senior players already ruled out for the remainder of the campaign, Carragher stated that the England international's quality and composure could prove vital in the closing weeks of the season. Speaking on Sky Sports, Carragher said that Tottenham's dire position owed much to their crippling injury list, arguing they would never have found themselves in such peril under normal circumstances. But he also made clear that excuses will count for little now, with Maddison singled out as the only player in the current squad capable of delivering the kind of individual brilliance required in a survival scrap. Carragher compared the influence of Jared Bowen and Morgan Gibbs-White in similar high-pressure situations, pointing to Maddison as Spurs' one genuine match winner. The former defender also cast doubts over Tottenham's prospects in their remaining away fixtures, warning that trips to Aston Villa and Chelsea look especially daunting for a side struggling badly for goals. Carragher suggested Spurs' fate is more likely to be decided in their home matches, where the pressure will be greatest and where Maddison's creativity could be decisive if he is fit enough to contribute. His comments come at a pivotal moment in Tottenham's season. Roberto De Zerbi finally secured his first league win as Spurs manager with a narrow victory at Wolves at the weekend, but the club remain deep in trouble and still lay outside the safety line. With injuries continuing to mount and confidence fragile, Maddison's return now carries significance far beyond simple squad depth. For Carragher, Tottenham's survival may rest on whether their most gifted playmaker can summon one final act of inspiration. Tottenham and West Ham have been thrust into an unwanted slice of Premier League history after Football 365 claimed the two London clubs are now threatening to join the list of the strongest teams ever to be relegated from the top flight. In a piece examining the best relegated teams in Premier League history, it's argued that both clubs are now on course to challenge the long-standing notion that 40 points guarantees survival. With 4 matches left to play, the article suggests that Spurs and West Ham could yet become modern additions to a notorious group of sides who were simply too good to go down, but went down anyway. The report centres on the growing possibility that Tottenham, currently trapped in the bottom 3, despite finally ending their long winless run, could surpass the point tallies of several relegated teams remembered more for bad luck than bad quality. Only a handful of Premier League sides have ever been relegated with 40 points or more, with West Ham's 42-point haul in 2002-03 still widely viewed as the benchmark for the strongest team to suffer the drop. That infamous West Ham side, featuring the likes of Joe Cole, Michael Carrick, Jermaine Defoe and Paolo Di Canio, has long stood as the gold standard of unfortunate relegations. The 2025-26 versions of both West Ham and Spurs may soon enter that same conversation, particularly given the unusual competitiveness at the bottom of the table this season. Spurs' late 1-0 victory over Wolves at least kept them alive, with João Palhinha's winner briefly lifting Roberto De Zerbi's side out of the relegation zone before West Ham's stoppage time win over Everton dragged them back in. Football 365 paints it as the perfect summary of Tottenham's season. Progress, but only fleetingly. Their first league win in 118 days was enough to restore belief, but not enough to lift them out of immediate danger. West Ham, meanwhile, are portrayed as the more stable of the two. Their own dramatic win has moved them just above the drop zone, and they now have the momentum, the experience and the January recruitment to survive. Tottenham, by contrast, remain the more chaotic proposition, capable of putting together enough points to post one of the strongest relegated totals in Premier League history, but equally vulnerable to wasting them. The wider point of the article is that the old safety threshold no longer applies. In most Premier League seasons, 35 to 38 points is enough to survive. This year, however, the strength of the promoted sides and the collapse of several established clubs has created a far more punishing relegation line, one where even respectable totals may not be enough. For Tottenham and West Ham, that means survival may now require more than merely being better than the bottom 3. It may require escaping the kind of season that rewrites what relegation usually looks like. Okay, here's my thoughts on all those stories today. Firstly, the fact that Barcelona are eyeing 3 of our Tottenham stars. Whether there's much truth in this, certainly I could imagine it's Porro they're going to be looking at more than Van der Ven or Romero. Can Barcelona afford them with their financial situation? Would not surprise me though that if they swoop for Porro, especially if we are relegated to the Championship, there's going to be a clear out one way or the other anyway, you would imagine. But certainly if we go down to the Championship, can you see the likes of Porro, Van der Ven and Romero staying at Spurs? Sadly, I can't, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It will be interesting if we can somehow stay in the Premier League, which Spurs players still want to leave. Would Porro still want to stick around? I truly don't know. Obviously, Barcelona, massive club. Can you turn down Barcelona if you've got that invite? A bit like Real Madrid, isn't it? You know, when Real Madrid come calling, who really turns them down? Nobody, pretty much. So we won't know the answers to this till the end of the season, but more likely than not, I would say that all 3 of those depart should we drop down to the Championship, which is something I'm sure none of us really want to consider, but it's a possibility, isn't it? Muani to Liverpool. Muani's not really our player, he's only on loan, but would Spurs have gone for him, or could Spurs still go for him and keep him for next season, especially if, again, we are in the Championship? Would Muani consider himself a better player than the Championship? These are all unknown questions. He probably would, to be honest with you. But it's surprising that Liverpool could be in for Muani. He's not had the best season with Tottenham, has he? That's putting it politely. So would he get in a Liverpool team? Probably not. As mentioned in the article, it's more of a squad player. Would you want to keep Muani at Tottenham next season? Personally, for me, I don't think it's worked out for the player, and he'll probably go back to PSG, and what they do with him after that is not our concern. But I've just been disappointed with Muani. Look, could he somehow find some form and get us some goals in these last 4 games, that would be a brilliant final act for Muani at Spurs, because really hasn't done much to date, has he, of note. But let's see what happens with that one. But I expect Muani to go back to PSG at the end of the season. Jamie Carragher talking about James Maddison, and could he be the key for Tottenham? He could well be, but is he fit enough to play? Is he ready to play after such an injury? It takes time mentally for players to get back, and certainly back into form. We can't expect Maddison to come back into this team and just be the player he was before his injury. I mean, he got injured before, didn't he? He did his MCL and missed the Europa League final, of course. So injury ravaged for Maddison over the last year or so. We can't expect James Maddison to come back in and just be magic. It's just not going to happen. But he could provide. Could he provide that extra spark? Could he create a couple of assists, perhaps score a free kick, or just get us a goal from open play? Who knows? We know how good a ball striker he is. If anybody saw him doing that little training thing with Richarlison on Maddison's channel, you could see how well he strikes a ball still. Can we get him in those positions where he can hurt the opposition? Is he going to get the opportunity to play? Does the club and Maddison himself think he's ready for a Premier League game? I personally hope he is, because losing Javi now, we haven't got any creativity in the middle of the park. So if Maddison's fit, I really hope we can get him on the pitch, certainly against Villa, even if that's just for half hour or 20 minutes. It could be that spark we need. And is 40 points going to be enough this season? It's looking likely that it actually might not be. Spurs obviously got 3 points at the weekend. 2 more wins and we're there. You would normally think 40 points is enough, but the quality around us, or certainly the sides around us that are picking up points, the Forest, the West Hams, it could be a record points tally that sends the 18th place club down this season, as stated in the article. And we all know 42 points sent West Ham down over 20 years ago. And when you actually look at the players they had in that team, it's kind of similar to the standard of player that Spurs have got in our team right now. So it proves it could happen. We all know it could happen. Is 40 points going to be enough? Possibly not. Possibly not. If we get 2 more wins, we're there, as I say, and it could be more than 42, couldn't it? So look, all we can do is look after ourselves and win our games, and then just hope that teams around us drop points. That's all from me today. Get down in the comments, let me know your thoughts on any of the articles today and how you're feeling as a Tottenham Hotspur fan right now. And as always, come on you Spurs.